Hello and welcome to a brand new series called Best of the Bets. My name's Christina Nicolaides, I'm your host, and we're looking at this weekend's sporting action. I'm not on my own, I have Best of the Bets, Sam Dymond, and I also have Gareth Walker with me, who is our bookie extraordinaire. We've got a massive amount of games to look at for this weekend. Let's get straight into it, looking at Saturday. So big games for Saturday then: Arsenal versus West Brom, Sunderland versus Chelsea, Wigan versus QPR. Let's look at the first one, Arsenal versus West Brom. So Tom Fox, who's Arsenal's chief commercial officer, has come out in the press and said, "Our brand is defined by more than winning."
Well, I think he's got his wish, hasn't he? Because they're not delivering at the moment at all. Massive booing last weekend against Swansea. I know Sam's got some very strong opinions on this game.
Yeah, I think comments like that are not going to endear himself to the support of the Emirates, who are already very restless. But yeah, I mean, obviously the wait for a trophy goes on at the Emirates, and their form there this season has not been good. They've dropped 10 points there all season. Swansea were the latest team to go there and win, and I can see West Brom this weekend following suit.
West Brom have been called last year's Newcastle, and they've had a phenomenal run, 5th now in the table. But they've dropped 2 games of late, or lost 2 games of late. What do we reckon for this weekend? Yeah,
I mean, they started off on fire. There was some talk, well, mainly talk from the West Midlands, that they were contenders for the Champions League. I'm not convinced about that, but a European place isn't beyond them this season at all. Absolutely flying. As you say, lost to Stoke and to Swansea. But looking at the prices for this game, we've got Arsenal at 1.45 and West Brom at 7.4. Those prices are purely on reputation. If you actually look at how the sides are playing, there's only one bet to have in this game for me, and that's the away side at 7.4. Cracking price, really is.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. As Gareth says, West Brom have lost their last 2 games. The last time they did do that in the Premier League this season, they went on to win their next 4. They go to Arsenal this weekend, above them in the table for the first time in 30 years, and that's on full merit. So I can see them winning there. The other bet I like is goals to be in this game. I think there'll be a lot of attacking, a lot of chances created. And in 60% of West Brom's games this season, there has been over 2.5 goals scored. So, yeah,
I mean, just to put some prices on that, we've got 6 goals or more in that game. It's available at 9.9, very tempting, or if you don't think there'll be quite as many, 5 goals is 8.3, or 4 goals in the game is 5.05. A couple of the correct scores that I like, 3-3 is 31. Or if you think there'll be even more goals, 4-4, very tempting at 101.
So to be fair to West Brom, they've beaten Sunderland, they've beaten Chelsea this season, Wigan and Southampton. So things look to be going in their favour, bar the last 2 games. So Sam, putting you on the spot, how would you bet for this particular game, Arsenal versus West Brom?
I like the 7.4 that Gareth mentions about West Brom. I think they're a really good side this season, a good team to watch. They can go to Arsenal and win.
Yeah, I mean, the draw's available at 4.4 if you're not quite as confident in West Brom's ability. But yeah, West Brom at 7.4 look great. One other bet to mention as well, the very popular both teams to score option. Looks a prime candidate for that to me. Arsenal, still plenty of creativity and spark going forward, but defensively just not there. And yeah, West Brom are playing well enough to score easily. So 1.74 that is for both teams to score. I think that's a very solid bet that you'd be really disappointed if that doesn't come in.
Thank you, guys. And if you want to place your bets, all you need to do is go to heavenbet.com. As we move on to Sunderland versus Chelsea, we have Best of the Bets Mike Holden to look at a different side of the game and how the influence of the manager can affect the result.
For my money, Sunderland are terrible this season. They're not really offering a lot at all going forward. They don't look like they can score goals. They don't, they look like they're in for a long, hard struggle, and yet Martin O'Neill remains, a darling of the media. They seem to think that, he can get, if anyone can get them out of trouble, he can do it. It's him that's got them into this position. They're no better off now than they were when they sacked Steve Bruce 12 months ago, and for my money, it should be O'Neill who should be under scrutiny. He should be the one coming for stick from the media. Is he under pressure, his job and stuff like that. So For me, I think if Chelsea just turn up and play the way that they played at West Ham last week, which for me was a bit of a freak game, the way that West Ham scored them goals late on in the game, against the run of play, all the chances that Chelsea had missed. If they take those standards up to Wearside this weekend, I'm sure that Chelsea will win. I just think that they're a fair price at 5 to 6 as a top 4 team against a team that is going to be battling against relegation right until the end of the season. So that's the game for me that interests most from a managerial perspective, because the focus is all on one man and it should be on the other man.
What do you reckon, guys, for this particular game, Sunderland versus Chelsea?
Well, Chelsea win in the week, and Mike's very keen there. Chelsea are available at 1.76 to win the game. We've got Sunderland at 4.7 and the draws at 3.6.
Yeah, I have to agree with a lot of what Mike says about Sunderland and Martin O'Neill in particular. It's been a difficult season for them, but I wouldn't be so confident about Chelsea just turning up and winning as he is. They obviously won comfortably in the week in the Champions League, but they have not been playing well.
They're out of the Champions League. So they won the Champions League. 200 days later, they're out of the Champions League. They're
out on merit. They were the third best team in that group. Sunderland were hoping for mid-table respectability at least. If people were in any doubt that they were in some sort of relegation scrap, I think that's made very, very clear at Norwich last weekend. They just didn't turn up at all in the first half.
But you saw a really spirited team in that second half, and for me, having watched Sunderland this season, I think the major issue, and Martin O'Neill says it time and time again, is confidence. I think if Sunderland can get a run of decent results, that will build their confidence. I wouldn't necessarily write them off this early on in the season, not with a manager like Martin O'Neill.
I mean, they were very poor against QPR at home in midweek before that. Yes, a lot better in the second half against Norwich. And maybe Chelsea are sort of ideal opponents to be arriving, because they're on a terrible run as well.
Well, Stephen Fletcher, at least he can score goals. You look at Fernando Torres, 21 goals in 91 games.
Yeah, but I mean, is Stephen Fletcher even going to be fit for this weekend? I mean, you talk about Sunderland's confidence, and I think that's very right to bring up. They've not beaten a team with 11 men on the pitch since March. But I think Chelsea's confidence is just the biggest issue this week. They're out of the Champions League, as we said. They haven't won in 7 Premier League games. It's their worst run in the top flight since 1994. They're not scoring goals. They've scored 1 in their last 3 games. And I think it's a big issue. This is Rafa Benitez's biggest issue to overcome, never mind the fans. And I think this could lead to a game very nervous, not many risks being taken, and I think they could end up cancelling each other out. Right,
Sam, prediction for the game?
I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to specifically go for a 0-0 draw.
0-0 is 9.2. And 1-1, again looking at a fairly cagey game, is priced at 7. The bet I'm very interested in for this game is in the first goal scorer market, actually. I think any market where you've got Fernando Torres as favourite is a market where there's surely going to be some value elsewhere. And with doubts about Fletcher's participation, I think Sessegnon at 13 is a great price for first goal. In a game where I said I haven't been overly complimentary about Sunderland there, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did get the first goal. And my prediction for the game would be 1-1 at 7. What about you?
If Stephen Fletcher is playing, I'm actually going to go really out there, left field, lots of caffeine. I'm going to say 3-1.
3-1?
Hat-trick Stephen Fletcher for a hat-trick.
27 you can have on that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take
that. Good luck to you with that.
Thank you very much. We're moving on then to Wigan versus QPR. So Wigan, they've lost 4 of the last 5. Long list of absentees. Figueroa's red card appeal, that's been rejected, so he's got a 1-match ban.
Shocking decision.
He's going to miss the game. But can Harry Redknapp really change things around at QPR?
Well, everyone seems to suggest he can, but we've really sort of yet to see that take off in his first 2 games. They started both against Sunderland and Aston Villa quite brightly, but that fizzled out towards the end of the game. And you do wonder, it's a small squad, they've got a few injuries, they've not really got anything going on up front. a lot of people have been keen to back QPR at times this season, but it's never really materialised, and I would not be eager to back them again this weekend.
I think this is one of those games where you look at the prices now, and Wigan are 2.27 to win, and QPR are 3.14, and I can really picture myself on Saturday evening looking back and thinking 2.27 Wigan, what an absolute gift. At home to a side that haven't won all season, at home to a side short on confidence that aren't playing well. So really you'd be thinking, well, that's the angle to go at from a betting point of view.
Yeah.
However, there's just something about Harry, and I like the away win here, 3.14. QPR, surely they've got to win a game soon. You'd think it's inevitable. So yeah, QPR at 3.14 for me is the bet there.
Right, Sam, prediction?
Prediction, well, I mean, Wigan have got some absentees, as you said. Caldwell and Figueroa both suspended after Monday night's game.
Yeah.
I don't think QPR can capitalise on that. That said, I'm not necessarily sure that Wigan can overcome QPR as well. So I'm going to sit on the fence and I'm going to go with a draw. A draw is 3.4, I should say. And for anyone that's wanted to pick up on what Sam said there about QPR getting off to a good start and then perhaps fading a little bit, some of the half-time, full-time options perhaps are interesting. QPR half-time and then Wigan to come back and win at full-time is 23. And QPR to be ahead at half-time and the game to finish in a draw is 14.
So scrap at the bottom of the table, Southampton versus Reading. So we've got Southampton 18th versus Reading in 19th.
Relegation 6-pointer, I believe this is.
Sam?
Yeah, and I think it's a very attractive game. I think there'll be lots of attacking. Both sides have shown that this season. Have been a bit naive when it comes to defending at this level. I think there's going to be goals. And I could see a high-scoring draw.
Yeah, Southampton are 1.91, the draw's 3.6, and Reading are around 3.9. I think a lot of goals is on the cards. 6 goals or more, 10.4 is a bet of interest. And one other bet that I really wanted to highlight is Jason Puncheon to score the first goal. We're offering him at 11.5, which I was assured by our trader is the price that we want to lay. To me, that looks a brilliant bet. Been really knocking on the door in terms of scoring recently. I think Southampton are good things at home to Reading. At 1.9, I think that's a great bet, and I think that Puncheon to score first at 11.5 is a cracking bet.
So Norwich unbeaten in 8 Premier League games, Swansea unbeaten in 6. We haven't got a lot of time on this, so Sam, very quickly, what do you think?
Well, I don't see either of those runs ending this weekend. I can see this being a draw. Really been impressed with how Chris Hughton has tightened up Norwich. Swansea, lovely team to watch. Have turned over some big teams, but I think they seem to struggle when the onus is on them to win. Yep. So I'm going to go for a low-scoring draw.
The draw is 3.6, Norwich are 4.6.
Yep.
The bet I love here is Swansea at 1.76. I'm sure we'll talk in future shows about how highly I rate Swansea, but to me, all over that 1.76, great price. OK, final game, Aston Villa versus Stoke.
Very quick word on this one. Not great, is it? No, there's not much to be excited about this one. The one thing I'll say about Paul Lambert is he likes to keep Aston Villa tight very early on. They've only conceded 2 first-half goals in the last 13.
Yeah.
But Stoke, they've come into form after a slow start, won the last 3, their first away win in 11 months.
Yeah.
I like draw half-time, Stoke City full-time.
Right, so thank you guys. That's Aston Villa versus Stoke. Sam, best bet for Saturday?
I really like what we spoke about at the top of the programme with West Brom at Arsenal. I think 7.4 is a great price. That's my best bet for the weekend.
Gareth?
I do like the home wins at Swansea and at Southampton, but the best bet for me this weekend is at the Stadium of Light. I think the draw between Sunderland and Chelsea is a great price at 3.6.
I think you might be right there. My best bet for Saturday, I'm going to go for a Wigan win, which I'm told is 2.27.
It is indeed.
Thank you very much. Thank you, guys. We're going to look at Sunday and the European action after the break. Remember, if you want to place your bets on this weekend's game, it's www.heavenbet.com. See you in a minute.
A new betting site from Poker Heaven.